We are awakened. Come and join our love, it's so right. If you could feel what we feel now, you'd be a lead.
Hello, Donna Devane here, and I'd like to talk with you for a few minutes about sponsoring one of our many radio programs that we have here at the Awaken Radio Network. What is a sponsor? Well, a sponsor is someone who partners with our radio station or one of our specific broadcasts to help get the word out. Through that program and the message that it brings, and get the endorsement for your business, your website, your particular interest at the same time. A sponsor of a radio show is mentioned at the beginning of the show, at our break, and towards the end. You're also listed as a sponsor for that program on that show page, and your message, your sponsorship message, is heard indefinitely throughout infinity through our archives and our rebroadcasts. If you'd like to get more information on how to sponsor the radio station as a whole or a specific radio program, contact me, Donna Devane, at awakenedradio@gmail.com. awakenedradio@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to set up a time for us to talk so that I can give you more information on it. Awakened Radio is the inspiration, motivational, and inspirational radio station. We are changing the world. Work with us. Partner with Awakened Radio for the success of all of us.
Welcome. You are now tuned in to Your Unfolding Senses on Awakened Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ragazine. This show is all about opening to and listening to your full intuitive capabilities. I offer tips and techniques such as meditation, dream work, and more for relaxing and connecting to your intuition. I'm on the air Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, helping you to connect to your own inner wisdom. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. It's 10 p.m., August 15th, 2013. Welcome to Your Unfolding Senses. I'm Rob Ragazine, your host, author, and explorer here. Your Unfolding Senses is about opening to your inner wisdom, and we're all intuitive. On this show, we talk about the tools and techniques for centering, connecting inward, and learning to truly listen, with a focus on helping you to find the methods that will work for you. So working with whatever you feel is right for you. Feel free to call in. You can call in at 334-649-7204. Or if you have Skype, you can add Awakened Radio to Skype, or you can come to awakenedradio.net and click on the live chat tab and make comments or ask questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. And you might ask about tarot, numerology, dreams, intuition, or whatever we're discussing that night. And tonight, it's money, mindfulness, and numerology. And it's sort of a continuation from last week. So as you know, Your Unfolding Senses is about connecting to your intuition, your inner life, and your heart. Essentially, listening to your inner guidance, no matter your age, background, or ideology. Making room in your life for your inner voice to shine through, instead of ignoring or dismissing or pushing it away, making time and space to truly listen. And many of us haven't found a way to hear the messages that are already coming into our life. You might often notice billboards or coincidences or recurring numbers or animals showing up or other patterns. So on this show, that's what we're talking about. How to pay attention to those things that are already there. Now, as you're already listening, you can use this time to suspend any doubt or disbelief, at least for the next hour, and allow yourself to connect inward, listen to your heart, and begin to pay attention to its needs and wants. Gradually, the space can unfold into your outer life. And with that in mind, I'm welcoming you to take part in a meditation. And unless you're driving or somewhere that's not safe, you can settle in and we'll do a short meditation. And since we're talking about passion and purpose and truly honoring ourselves and having self-worth, you might have a question about that. How can I connect with my passion? How can I allow myself to connect with my passion? So as you sit down or lie down in a comfortable place, you can have this question in mind to be answered while we're meditating. Allow for whatever comes to come into your mind or sensory perceptions, and allow for a phrase or a sound or a word or a symbol to come, whatever it is, let it come. Finding a quiet corner, sitting comfortably or lying comfortably, closing your eyes, and beginning to breathe slowly and gently, releasing any stress from the day, breathing gently into yourself and your heart, letting go of any doubts or worries, and continuing your breathing, letting your mind quiet and your body rest. Feel yourself filling with peace, restfulness, and tranquility. Bring your focus to your heart. What has it been asking for? Allow your awareness of your heart to deepen as you breathe. Settle into stillness, feeling all of your senses open, deepen, and grow. Know that this is a special place where you can clearly hear your own inner voice, however it speaks to you. Be mindful of how this space feels. Allow the space to expand within your heart and out into your life. You might ask a question or notice any messages available to you within this space. Your inner ears might hear a word or a phrase. Your inner eyes might see a color, shape, or picture. You might have other sensations as well. Simply pay attention to these. If you don't understand what they mean, ask for deeper clarity and allow for whatever comes to come. If nothing does, that's okay. Don't force anything to happen. Just notice how your body feels, resting in the stillness and the inner peace. This could be the very thing that your heart has been yearning for. Breathe into the parts of your body that feel tight or stressed, and allow yourself to feel comfort in this space. Know that you can come here anytime. And as we prepare to leave, have and feel gratitude for this connection and any messages you received. Slowly bring your focus back to the room and gently open your eyes, coming back to your body. Now, I have an intuition challenge this week, which you can take part in. If you like, you can call in and talk about it. It's identifying a person from history, and I posted it within the chat room. It's also posted on my website, and it will be posted in the forum after the show. So all you do is use your intuition to determine what you can about this person, and then you can click through to find out who this person is. And just notice what you noticed about the man in the picture and see how accurate you were. This isn't about labeling yourself, saying you're truly psychic or you're not psychic. We all have these capabilities. So it's simply about being comfortable enough to connect in. So be comfortable and simply ask yourself, how do I feel about this person or object? In this case, it's a person. So how do I feel about this person? look at the picture. You might be repelled by the picture. You might be attracted to the man. You might be neutral. Just notice that. That's the first thing. And if you do have feelings, notice which ones they are and where you feel what you feel. Maybe you have a memory about someone that looked like him. That might be helpful. So letting go of the inner critical voice that says, this is silly, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, believe that you are. That's really part of what we're talking about tonight anyway. Believing that you are good enough. So that's all you really have to do. It's not hard. And if you'd like to call in and talk about what you saw, it's not about being wrong or being right. It's simply about talking about what you noticed for yourself. That could be helpful for other people, so we'll gladly talk with you. Last week we talked about money and mindfulness, and this week is a continuation, really, but also connecting into numerology and your life path and looking at how your purpose really facilitates being mindful and being cognizant of how you want to lead your life. How are you connected to your purpose? And being mindful can help you to recognize how you're investing yourself spiritually, physically, and mentally. Are you even investing in those? Maybe you're investing in yourself mentally, but you're not getting to the gym, or maybe you're doing the spiritual work, but you're letting others take you down, for instance. Whatever it is, it's really having an awareness of yourself on all levels. So instead of being caught up in the stress and the drama and the doubt or the fear and disconnecting from our hearts and our minds and our bodies, we can begin to be curious about how we feel. It's really about having a willingness to look within, and you can begin to better address any situations that might be present that you're looking for a solution. Maybe there isn't a solution, maybe it's simply about accepting what is and living your life from that point. So what is mindfulness? Talked a little bit about last week, and we'll talk about it again tonight. It's really meeting every situation with an open mind. And that's really about being within the situation, recognizing that you're in it, and not fighting against it necessarily, more so internally, but accepting that you're there and being aware of how you feel, not trying to be angry about the thoughts that you're having, that you're angry about being in a situation or you're happy about a situation, simply being aware of your thoughts, fully aware, and then letting go of your attachments. So letting go of judgment, letting go of expectation, letting go of regret, letting go of analysis. It's not necessarily rejecting, it's simply letting go. Now, we'll be looking to numerology in the life path specifically for guidance about wealth, power, and money. How do you feel about those? As we talked about last week, notice how your body reacts to situations or talks or discussions, or if you're watching television, the shows that are on, how your body feels. Does it feel, as we mentioned last week, expansive, or does it feel contracting, tight, and restricted? If you're feeling that way, then you obviously are connected more to the judging and the analysis and stepping out of mindfulness. It's being unattached. Not saying that life is unimportant. It's saying that life is important and you're not in the moment. And that's what's most important about being in the moment. Right now, at this very moment, you have enough. You are enough. Now, many of us really just sweep our feelings around and under the rug instead of saying that this is really bad, or I wish I had that, or I'm happy that I have this. We're not trying to connect to a yes or a no necessarily. We're trying to be mindful of our feelings. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't think and feel, but it's trying to be more mindful while thinking and feeling, and to creep out of the shadow. So we're not pushing things down under the rug into our unconscious. We're not somehow saying something that's hurtful at a party to someone or doing something that's destructive. We could look back to our childhood and to see what interests that we've pushed aside that we feel somehow that we're good enough or not good enough to do now for some reason, but still feel pulled to do it, so we're caught in that contradiction. Or we're connected to some of the sayings and mantras that our parents and guardians had while we were growing up, and we were told certain things about money. We can let these go, really, but whatever it is, we don't like to talk about it because it's rude or impolite to talk about our feelings and issues around money. And that's where the shadow comes up, looking at our unconscious. The goal there really is not to present you with a quick fix, but rather to allow you to develop more of an awareness of your true self. Who is that? Who is this person that's inside of you that wants to come out? The clue is about valuing your interests, your talents, and desires. It's about owning your own power, and it's about becoming connected with the real you and allowing that person to step forward into your life. So how do you do that? It's really about connecting back to interests that you know are there, and you may even feel the pull to them now, but like I said earlier, you're dismissing them, you're ignoring them, you don't think you have time for them. And if you don't think you have time and you're too busy, then it might be time for a meditation practice, because then when you don't think you have time now, part of the stress there is, or the challenge is, to just sit down and let everything go. But this is sort of a side note, which we'll get to a little bit later. So how does all this relate to intuition? Well, it simply boils down to knowing when something doesn't feel right. How does it feel? Again, back to either you feel okay and you're not contracting and squishing yourself down to a little ball that no one can notice you. You feel expansive, expanding, and okay with yourself. You have self-worth, self-value. Instead of building up regret and anxiety and stress, and again, going back to what I said earlier, disconnecting from your heart, your mind, and your body, either through depression or medication, which can be shrinking and contractive, why not begin to question why you feel the way that you do? And we want to ask why we feel the way we do to address this situation, to find a solution, and we're often given intuitive guidance that we misinterpret, dismiss, or ignore. So then we think that there's no hope. So again, it's going back to, how do I pay attention to myself? How do I connect with my intuition? It's pay attention to your energy. How do you feel? What's in your dreams? Dreams can be offering you very helpful guidance, even though they might seem like nightmares. You wouldn't be having them unless there was some seed of hope within them. And this really leads back to the numerology and the life path. What is my inspiration? What's my passion? What's my goal? Well, first of all, are you paying attention to it? Are you paying attention to your body? And of course, it's not every moment, but that's where we're headed. So essentially, our intuition can help us connect to ourselves and to listen to our own guidance. If we're not listening to ourselves, who will be listening to, really? And it might be simplifying your life, if that's what you feel called to do. And I don't mean like quitting your job and moving to the mountains and live in a cave. It doesn't have to be that way. I think it's really disconnecting from the stuff that has no value to you. It might be physical items. It might be a job. It might be relationships. And it might be simple things. But whatever is in the way of you connecting inwardly, you have to look at where you would be if that wasn't filling space and occupying your time. And I have a wonderful quote from Julia Child, who would be, I guess, 101 this week. She says, "Learn how to cook, try new recipes, learn from your mistakes, be fearless, and above all, have fun." So don't be afraid to explore and be inventive and try new things. Now, the life path within numerology is based on your birth date, your date of birth. And it really boils down to sort of your journey through life. That's what it is. It describes sort of what you want to do with your life, and it's kind of up to you to figure out how to do that. It's the blueprint. And you obviously already have all of the skills and the characteristics that are represented by your life path, and they can come very naturally to you. But it's really accepting that these have value, maybe not necessarily immediately towards a vocation, but definitely towards a way to believe in yourself, to believe in your power, and to help others. It might be helping to mentor others. It could even be just something that's just fun. Remembering back to childhood, things that you like to do, whatever they were, do you still do them? And do you feel compelled to do them, more importantly? It might not be the same activities, but it could be similar activities. For myself, I really got inspired to be a reader and a researcher and a learner through the Roald Dahl books, which really inspired me to to read more, and to see that books could be enjoyable and fun and really something to fill my time with. So I really was inspired by his books and became more of an avid reader after reading his books one particular summer. So generally, you'll feel drawn to and enjoy the activities that your life path describes. My life path number is a 4, which is all about structure and responsibility and doing things that matter, building up, what's the word? Well, I don't really have a word. I guess building community is the word. And being responsible, being the responsible one. So the reading really helped me to learn not only more about myself, but to have an interest in others and to see the bigger picture, because it really helped me to open up to new possibilities. One, that reading could be more fun, but it could also lead you to new paths and new discoveries, and there's a whole lot to explore that way. And for me, it was fun, but it also allowed me to open up to whole new worlds that didn't exist before. Really, so the life path is about taking on real and worthwhile challenges, and the more experience you'll gain, through these activities, the more you'll want to continue to devote yourself to exploring them. And for those that do take on the challenges, the life path will become more important as it can highlight, obviously, the pursuits that are rewarding to you. And the accomplishment brings joy and pride. So it's really about looking for how to shift, change, and heal your life wherever you might be out of balance, or where you can bring in new opportunities into your life. So although the 4 is sort of the nose to the grindstone person, it's also stepping back and seeing the bigger picture. And by reading, I learn a lot, and it's enjoyable to me, and it's also about opening to the greater mystery and having an open mind. So I can take a break and read a book and just relax, or I can take a book and learn about how the universe works. Now we only have 5 minutes or so till break, but when we get back, I'll be talking about the various life path numbers. And if you have one that you'd like to talk about specifically, you can call in when we get back. We're not taking a break for 5 minutes, of course, but you can call in and we'll talk about that. Before we go, we'll talk about some of the life paths and begin our talk. And Maya Angelou says, you can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing, and then do them so well that people can't take your eyes off you. So really, this is what the life path is talking about. What's your passion? What do you truly love to do? What gives you joy? What gives you inspiration? It might be actually that part of your life path is embedded within your vocation, and that's great. That's truly wonderful if that's the case. Maybe there's parts of your job that don't have that, but you can still try to shift that job in some way, perhaps through visualization, through changing yourself to bring in more of those qualities, or maybe you can bring in more of those qualities in your outer life. It doesn't all have to be in one box. That's the thing that people often forget about. We're multi-talented. We can bring ourselves out into the world, and I think that's why some people feel gray, because they want everything to be everything in one box. So the job is everything, and then you go home and do nothing. No, you can be helping people to build community, and some of these life path numbers are truly all about community. We can't do everything by ourselves. So we'll talk about that too later in the show. So quickly, life path number 1 is all about being inventive, being a creator. Life path 2 is all about being a mediator, being the go-to person. Life path 3 is all about joy and celebration. They're the party people. Life path 4s are the structure people. Life path 5s are sort of the mystery people, the librarians, the discoverers. Life path 6 are the compassion people. Life path 7 are the scientists, the musicians, the people digging deeper into the world. Life path 8 are the business people, the athletes of the world, the people that don't like to take no for an answer. And life path 9 is about the wisdom keepers, the people that have seen everything, can see the bigger picture of the world. And then we have life path 11, which is more mystical, and life path 22 is all about balance and structure and a willingness to teach what's on your heart and bring it out into the world. So if you look at these and try to begin understanding more about yourself and where you feel pulled, then you'll be one step closer to understanding how your life path works. It's all about noticing where you feel you need to go and beginning to take steps to move in that direction, whether those steps are small or big. And we'll talk more about this after the break.
Awakened Radio was brought to you by our listeners. Those of you who enjoy our wide range of topics and our wide range of listenership. We really do cover the globe with thought and geographic location. Thank you so much for taking part, for coming over and joining us in our chat room, and for clicking that donate button while you're there. We appreciate your contributions. They are what has helped us to grow and will help us to grow even more. While you're at our website, please visit our Awakened store. Take part in our forum conversations. Check out all of the pages at awakenedradio.net. Get to know us. You'll like us. We're really a friendly bunch. Thank you for helping make Awakened Radio possible.
Welcome. You are now tuned in to Your Unfolding Senses on Awakened Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ragazine. This show is all about opening to and listening to your full intuitive capabilities. I offer tips and techniques such as meditation, dream work, and more for relaxing and connecting to your intuition. I'm on the air Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, helping you to connect to your own inner wisdom. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends. And we're back, and we're talking about mindfulness, personal value, self-worth, and the life path and numerology. Really, how do you value yourself? And as I'm talking about the life path, if you have a question, as I stated before, you can call in at 334-649-7204, and we'll talk about that. Or you can add Awakened Radio to Skype, and you can ask a question about your life path number. It's based on your birth date. Now, there's questions that you can ask yourself that are really important in helping you to fully explore your life path. For instance, who is the person that you remember that has really encouraged your progression along your life path? Is there any one person that stands out? For me, I remember several people that really encouraged me when I was younger to take part in some local classes and to really expand beyond what I was doing, which was but I was doing readings at small shops and whatnot, but I hadn't published a book, I hadn't had my own radio show, and I hadn't taken part in any really long workshops. And they just made recommendations to take different classes, 1 day, 2 day, and then all of a sudden I'm in a 2-week conference learning all about myself. So some really important people there for me. Next question might be, where have I limited my own progress? So noticing, where do you feel limited? Now, first of all, this isn't about labeling yourself. We all have all of the capabilities represented by all of the numbers. This is just whatever life path you are is some of your key strengths, but you can develop other strengths and other abilities you can improve. It's not about pigeonholing you, labeling you, telling you it's impossible to be a compassionate person, for instance, or be someone interested in adventure and change and going after things. It's a evolution. So you might start at one, but you can evolve yourself into the other numbers. How do you get your number? You can add up all of the digits in your birthday and then reduce the result. So whatever they add up to, like if it adds up to like 2056, you would then add 2 plus 5 plus 6, and that's your result. And in that case, 2 plus 5 plus 6, what is that, 13? That would be 1 plus 3 is 4, and you'd be a 4 life path if that was your number. If you have a birth date and you don't know how to calculate it, I will calculate it for you, or you can go to my website, intuitionbyrob.net, and the calculations are in there under the Tools section, Tools tab, and it tells you, walks you through with an example. So you can do either way, post it in the chat room, and Donna has posted her birthday in the chat room. I won't read it out, but she says she's come up with a 5, so I will add up her numbers and see if that's 5. And you can add up your numbers pretty simply, again, by following the instructions at my site, intuitionbyrob.net, and clicking on the Tools tab and then going to Numerology. And you can figure out yours there. Now, Donna's is a 5, and 5 is all about curiosity and a willingness to look within and without, and always wanting to know more, trying to shake things up, trying to learn more. So if you know anything about Donna, that's probably a pretty accurate description. And Cerebral Heart says she's a 1, and her significant other is well. So the problem there, if it is a problem, is about two people who always want their own way. And there's another place where you can grow. You don't have to believe that, oh, I always want my own way, so I can't be good at any kind of relationship. No, that's not true. It's simply learning to have a conversation with your partner and say, well, I have these drives, and I'd like your help with understanding where they're pulling me. I want to, I don't want to have to butt heads with you, so how can we be creative? How can we both be independent and creative and inventive together? And that's the kind of conversation that might be helpful if you both have a Life Path 1, which Cerebral Heart mentions in the chat room. So Life Path 1 is really about developing your own will, individuality, being decisive, expressing your creativity, and being really a leader, stepping forward, not really wanting to be the part of a corporation. You're the leader, so you can't really be the warehouse worker or anything like that. You really want to forge your own path and stand on your own 2 feet. So those people, they need to find a way to allow that to happen. And part of that is believing that you can do it. And once you step out into the world in that way, then other people will follow you anyway, because they see your power, they see your drive. And Donna mentions that she thought she wanted to be in a relationship with someone like her, but then she got it and accepted that that's probably not the case. So really it's about accepting yourself, first of all, accepting that you do have dreams, you do have urges to create something, whatever you feel pulled to create out in the world, that's part of your life path, really. So it's following that inner guidance and finding a way to not only acknowledge it, but to begin to act on it and do something about it. What do you feel like doing today, for instance? It starts small, so it doesn't have to be, oh, I want to build a library that will last forever in space. Well, you can be like some of these newfound inventors who are building rocket ships and bringing people actually out into outer space. And who thought that it would even happen? Now there's a reality show that wants to bring people to Mars. I think the trip is only one way, so I'm not sure who would want to do that. But it's supposedly thousands of people that have signed up to actually go to Mars if that trip ever happens. But here are people creating something that seemed impossible a few years ago. So it's starting small, taking the few small steps. These examples are kind of extreme, but they're happening, which is pretty interesting. Now, the 2 life path is really about the person, the man in the middle. They find, and well, obviously there's connotations to that, but they're all about cooperation and being of service, bringing balance to all kinds of relationships. And so they're the kind of people that, like the psychologists who people come to for advice, the life coaches, whatever, and they're good at organizing and fact-finding and really helping other people to communicate with each other, sort of like the grease in the organization, keeping everything moving smoothly. And we have another person who's mentioned their birthday in the chat room, and it looks like they're a 9, I believe. I'll calculate it, December 87. So if you have a question about your number, you can come to the chat room and we will talk about it. And it is a 9. And the 9 is technically the path that's sort of at the end of the cycle. In numerology, there's a series of cycles that you live through. And, well, that's 1 through 9. But also have the master numbers 11 and 22. So they've supposedly lived through the other life paths. And so they're about having passion and understanding, and really understanding about have the understanding about the highs and the lows of their life and your life. So they technically should be grounded, but if they're not doing the work to ground themselves, like meditation, like exercise, or looking at their nutrition, then that's when they become more dogmatic, and that's where the balance comes in, learning to find a way to fuel their passion, but also to live life in a way that's grounded and connected to now. That's the issue for the 9. It's not being I don't have a word for it, well, the unbalanced person, sort of the I guess the ditzy blonde, or the goofy geek. So you have those two kinds of concepts for the 9. They know a lot, but they're not sure how to actually connect with reality. When they do be able to connect, they can definitely help others and be of service, and that's important to them. Life Path 8 is about being, and of course, it's about whatever number you are and wherever you are in your progression, it's about having compassion for yourself. It's not about labeling. It's about understanding that you can heal yourself. You can grow to be a different person, but you're always you, of course. It's simply about following your heart, following your inner guidance, and doing what you feel called to do. And that's the important part here. The 8 really is about recognizing your own strength and not necessarily overpowering other people. That's the trick for the 8 people, because they know they're powerful, they know that other people see them as powerful, so then their lesson that they may learn frequently is not to overpower people and learn to be a mentor, learn to delegate and ask for help, and that's the challenge. And also trying the material world. So for them, they have the self-worth, at least in most cases, but they want more regardless. So it's really recognizing that how they're going to make progress in getting more. Are they going to run everyone down and stomp all over everyone to get more for themselves? That's the key question. How does my living in the world affect others? And that's a good question for them. Definitely meditation can help them to settle down and connect inward and listen to their desires and find a path to getting them without necessarily harming everyone in their way and then regretting the harm later on. So some more questions about the life path are, what do I like about my life path? So what do you like about it? What does it inspire within you? Or how has my life path served me? For me, it's really shown me that, yes, structure, as I have the 4, as I mentioned earlier, is important, but it's equally important to have fun and go do fun things as well and let go of the need for structure in the moment. Every moment doesn't have to be planned and mapped out and structured. And I think that's a good challenge for the 4 to understand. So for me, it served me in allowing me to be structured and methodical, but it also showed me and that I learned that fun and exploration is also important. How does your life path live through you, and how does your mood influence your progression on your life path? It seems a little opposite of the way that the question should be asked, but I'm really looking at how you might change your mood as you settle into following your inner guidance and following your life path. So just notice that. Again, it's noticing, if we go back to the beginning of the show, we talked about expanding and contracting. Is your mood, expanding or contracting? Is it dark? Is it heavy? Or is it light? Just to notice that. And if you're not feeling joyful, then you're probably not progressing on your life path. How have you been inspired by others living on your life path? And I talked about this earlier. So I met some wonderful people earlier in my life that really inspired me to move beyond just the books and to start exploring some of the local classes and opportunities to meet other people who had similar interests and to really expand beyond where I was at. So that's my answer. What is your particular answer? And it might be that for you, if you have, for instance, a 7 life path, you might truly be inspired by musicians or scientists or doing incredible work through their creations that they're bringing out into the world. With the musicians, they're bringing incredible... You would think that, wow, music is over. No, that's not true. There's incredible music coming out every day. And the same thing with science. It's new research is coming out every day, and I was just reading about some interesting dream research for the lucid dream people and they're constantly seeing new areas of the brain that light up while people are lucidly dreaming, which is pretty neat. And we didn't know anything, not only about the brain, but about lucid dreaming just a few years ago. Now, that's a summary of the basic life paths. If you have a question about yours, you still can call in, but we're coming towards the end of the show, so please do feel free to call in or contact me at intuitionbyrob.net, and I'll talk to you about it, or on Twitter. I'm at intuitionbyrob. Now, I was talking about this last week, looking more into your life at what feels off kilter, and especially around money and finances, to discover more about your life path. It doesn't have to be about money. It could be about things. And for instance, I talked about the gadgets and books that I collected, some of which I don't even use, last week, but that can be a hint for you to see where you might be out of balance. So that, for me, sort of connected to planning or saving. So looking at, okay, I don't really need this stuff, so how can I clear it out and let go of it? So I can donate it to the library, I can give the books to friends, I can give some of the gadgets to friends, or sell them. So to notice that, and to notice where you tend to do that a lot. Now we have some questions in the chat room, and it says some people like jazz. Well, so jazz is very improvisational, so it's sort of asking your own questions as you go. Will this work? Will that work? And that's pretty neat. Now, to look at the other aspects of being out of balance monetarily or materially, it might be that you're out of balance with spending, and that might show up simply by being too active out in the world, especially if you have a 3 life path, so you always want to be part of the party, and that's where that shows up. So the over expending your energy at the party and spending too much time there. Now, the 6th life path might be out of balance with, of course, helping others, giving and donating stuff to charity and whatnot, donating their time, being a volunteer, without spending any time working on themselves, not having a place to even rest when they get home. It's all a mess, and nobody takes care of their home for them except them when they have time. Now, then we have the altruistic people, such as the 2s or the 9 life paths, that might be willing to share the shirt off their back and help others first, similar to the 6, but even more generous, even more altruistic, so they're doing it for the good of the community. And then the people with the big plans, life path 1, 8, or 7, so that's the sort of the grand vision people. So you might spend all of your time and resources looking at the big picture without spending any time here and now in the moment. And then talked about saving, which could be the 4, could be the 5. Of course, all of these could be all of the life paths, but I'm just trying to give you a brief vision of some of the tendencies that might be off balance for the individual life paths. Really, it's to look at where you're out, when you're out of mindfulness and not living in the present. So when you're looking at the regrets of the past or whatever, happy events too, then you know you're stuck in the past. And we're looking at being in the moment and truly listening to our heart, our inner wisdom, and looking at how we react to monetary or material situations can help us to be more cognizant of where we are out of balance for ourselves materially, physically, and even spiritually and socially. Now, we're so busy being busy that we're not living the life that we have in mind. We're planning, but we're reflecting out into the world our busyness. Then life just becomes busy, and then we try to pre-plan everything, and then that leads to rigidity and lack of structure. Well, hard to break away from the structure that's already there. Now, we'll talk more about this in a later show, but hopefully the Life Path information can help you to begin to look at how you are actually leading your life according to your purpose. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on Twitter or Facebook, and you can get those links by coming to my site, which is Intuition by Rob. And right there, if you click on the media tab, you can come to my forum page here and read about the past shows and leave comments if you have questions. You can come to my show page, you can come to the Awaken Radio store, and of course come to my Facebook and Twitter pages. And since I mentioned the store, we have tons of different things to get there. You can get dream catchers and kefir and gemstones, healing kits, and readings. You can also make a donation there's donate buttons at the top of most screens here. So if you've been inspired by any of our shows and you're so inclined, donations are always greatly appreciated. We're here for no cost to you, so please find it in your heart to click the donate button at the top of all the screens here at Awaken Radio. You can also join us and be a sponsor. And you just provide us with 30-second audio about your business, and if we match up spiritually and energetically, then we can be having you during our broadcast as part of the show, and your audio will be played at the start of the show, in the middle, and at the end, and then that show won't be changed as it goes into the archives. So your ad will be played when in the archives on iTunes and Talk Show. So you can email us at donnadevane@gmail.com if you're interested in being a sponsor for one of the shows or this show. And please do contact us if you're interested in growing your business with us. We also have Thrive Magazine, which you can be part of the Awaken Radio Network community, and you can contribute articles, art, and poetry each month. And I think we have a new issue coming out next month in September, so I believe the deadline is September 10th. So if you feel that you have something to contribute, please do, and it will be published in the September issue, which is a double issue next month. It'll be, I believe, July and August in issues combined, so that we can have a bigger issue later in the year. So please do contribute your articles, your art, and your poetry, and become a part of the Awaken Radio community. And if you'd like to learn more about numerology and the Life Path number, you can get my book, Your Life Counts, on Amazon, and it talks all about following your heart and what you feel guided to do. And this doesn't have to be, as I mentioned earlier, vocationally related, although it might become that. It's simply about learning to listen to your heart and begin, no matter what your age is, to take some steps toward living a life in ways that matter. So really, if you're inspired by what you heard tonight, that book can my book can definitely help you to begin to more deeply explore your life and follow your passion. And I walk through many different exercises on exploring what it means for you and connecting to some of your earlier passions and finding ways to bring them out into your life now. Thank you.
Sleeping through the fight in life, we're all eyes open, showing our inside and light so bright. We are awakened. Come and join our love, it's so right. If you could feel what we feel now, you'd be a leader filled with might. Cause we're awakened. You won't catch us sleeping through the fight in life, we're all eyes open, showing our inside and light so bright. We are